Hey, what's up guys, welcome to a new video. My name is Prince Meyson. Today we'll be looking at the behind the scenes and also doing a lighting breakdown of an amazing shoot that I did recently. I'll put a link to the team's Instagram handles below, so be sure to check them out and also show your support. We shot at Thai Studio and I absolutely love the space, and one thing that I always do at this space is bounce light because everywhere is just white, and you guys will see how I use that to create amazing images. Before we get into today's video, I want you to check out my digital store. I have some amazing assets that'll help you retouch better and retouch faster, and they are super easy to use. Check it out, and whatever you get from there really helps me to continue creating more content on this channel, so thank you so much. For this photo shoot, I shot with my Canon R5 and my trusted 100mm macro lens. Absolutely love that lens. It's the L version, and I used my Godox 8600 Pro and a 1000 watt Mo Richardson light. So without further ado, let's get straight into the lighting breakdown for this photo shoot. So now, welcome to the breakdown. The first thing we always do with the breakdowns is look at the camera settings that I use to shoot these images. Now, on the left, you guys can see the first set of the lighting breakdown, or I would say the lighting itself, and the right is the second one that we're going to be looking at. So the first one is just normal. We have this nice separation between our subject and a background, and I always do that, like I say, just to create some I'd say some nice effects to our background. I don't want a situation where our background is just really plain. This is the before image. You guys can see it's not like it's not like anything was done in post. You guys can see the before and after image. So I do not just like, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I don't just like a plain background. So I like to just add some shadows to my background to add some depth to the image. So that's what we're going to be looking at now. For the first image, we shot ISO 100, 1/200th of a second, f5, and with my 100mm lens at 100mm. So these are the settings that I use. Now I shot f5 because I was shooting in the studio. I was also shooting with the strobe, so and ISO 100. It's always good to shoot ISO 100. Now for the next set of images, if we scroll down, I'm just going to use this one. So with these ones, I shot at 1/60th of a second. Obviously, like, I brought it down from 1/200th of a second. I just felt like the extra 1/40th of a second was good enough for was going to help me with lighting, basically, right? Because this time I wasn't just shooting with strobes. I was shooting with my key light was more Richardson light. So I'll show you what that looks like when we are in Photoshop doing the breakdown. I shot ISO 200 because, like I said, I was trying to compensate for that key light. And then also at f2.8, I brought it down from f5. Remember, at this point I was using a constant light, not a strobe. So regardless of how powerful it is, it's a 1000 watt constant light, but it's nothing comparable to a 600 watt strobe in terms of power, right? And I shot at 100mm. Now, we're just going to jump into Photoshop. Where's my Photoshop? Right here. And you guys can see what I'm doing right now that's different from the previous lighting breakdown is that I have the image right here. So when I am showing you guys the lighting, you guys can see the image right here and see exactly what it looks like. Okay, great. Now, the first thing we're going to do is ignore this light right here. So what I'm going to do is probably just paint over this light right here, because this light was not part of this shoot. So I'm just going to take that light out. That light was not part of that shoot. It was just standing there, so that does not confuse anybody. Now, to get this, let's come to this and just zoom out a bit. So to get this line that you guys can see here, let's start with that. To get that line and also get like a sharp shadow. So if I zoom into her face, you guys can see that shadow that is right here. We had to shoot with hard light, and like, hard light just means like we're shooting with really small light source. And what light source is smaller in this situation than shooting with a reflector, a 7-inch, I think this is a 7-inch reflector. So that's what we're shooting with. We also had I can't remember if this is a 10% or a 20% grid, because I never checked it, but it is between a 10% and a 20% grid. Now, the reason why I had that grid was because I really wanted to narrow the angle of the light. if I had a Fresnel lens that I could use to really narrow the angle of the light, I probably would have used the Fresnel, but I don't have a Fresnel that works with a strobe. So this was the next best thing. The reason why I did that was because I wanted the light to hit this V flat that we have here. So you guys can see we have a V flat blocking my subject. And it was a V flat that was going to create, or the V flat created this line that you guys can see in the background. So that's the V flat, created this line. And also because this light is really, really small and it's a hard light source and the light is very directional, it is creating this shadow right here that you guys can see behind the subject. Now, this line is still not as hard as I want it to be. It's not as sharp as I want it to be. And that's why I said if I had a Fresnel lens, it probably would have been sharper than this and would have like a nice straight, line without like a lot of gradients basically. But I still feel like this worked good. So if we jump back to this image here, you guys can see the light. It is pointing me and my terrible drawing skills, but I'll just reduce the size of this brush. So this light right here is pointing directly at the V flat right here. Now, I don't know what the power was, but it was definitely going to be the highest power. So, or just 1/2. I'm pretty sure it was at the highest power, because at this point, this grid is really reducing the amount of power that is coming out of this flash, because it's such a dense grid. It really reduces the power, right? And then it hits this black V flat. A white V flat will probably not work because it's not going to, I don't know. It might bounce light back, but I just felt like a black V flat would be perfect. So now this light is hitting this black V flat, and I had to move it around to get it to be at a place where it's not completely blocking the light that is hitting the subject. It's not blocking the light that is going to hit our subject, but it is just right next to our subject. So if you guys look on this other side right here, you can see the line down here. It's just right next to our subject, right? So you have to move it around to get that perfect positioning for the light to just be this close to your subject but not hitting your subject, right? The distance between my light and my V flat was probably about 5 feet. So I'll probably say 5 feet was probably the distance between my light and my V flat. And then further, maybe 6 to 7 feet between my subject and the V flat. I would say so. And basically, that's about it for this setup. It is just a one light setup. Very simple, very easy to do. And the equipment that I used for this shoot are things that you can get by yourself. Very easy. You have your 8600 Pro. It doesn't have to be the 8600 Pro. It can be the 8600. It can be the 8300. It can be the 8200. You can even use the 8100. But you might have to compensate with your camera settings when it comes to, shooting with lower flash powers, right? So if you're shooting with a flash that's not as powerful as this, you might have to compensate by maybe increasing your ISO or reducing your aperture. It's flash, so your shutter speed will probably not do too much, in this situation, or not do anything at all. So, your ISO, your aperture will probably be what you use to compensate. But for the most part, this is just about it. We have the light shooting through a black V flat that is blocking part of the light and creating this nice line right here. If you feel like the line is too dark and you want to, make it lighter, an easier way to do that is probably to not shoot with a grid, or maybe just add like a fill light somewhere, just bounce light, and that's a very easy way to do it. So yeah, anyways, that is our first light breakdown. If you have any questions, please put in the comments below. I'll be here answering your questions for the next few hours or few days, right? I think this is, another angle. Like I said, this light right here is not part of it. You guys can see we have me right here. And I didn't move the lights around even when I went in to take headshots. It was still the same thing. So you guys can see some of those headshots right here. There's the before and there's the after retouching it. So I did not move the lights around still after, when I was going to take those headshots. The light stayed in the same place. So we have this light, just shooting down at our subject. Also, it's at an angle, so you have to put that at the back of your mind. So I wasn't just shooting straight. I did raise the light up to a certain height. I'm about 6'1", and if I am 6'1", this light will probably be over 7 feet tall right now, I think so, or 7 foot tall. So basically, I did raise it, considerably high. The whole idea was that I was trying to get the shadows to be low and also get the shadows under her chin to, like look down. So, I wanted this light to be shooting down at my subject and not, on the same, because if we do look here, the light will probably be somewhere around here if it's shooting directly at a subject. That's a terrible line. Let me see if I can draw the line better. Yes. So the light will probably be somewhere around here, but that's not, you guys get what I'm saying, but, I did raise it up, so it's shooting down at our subject. So that's one thing you should put at the back of your mind. Okay, great. So we're going to move to the second one, which is pretty similar, because when I shoot with hard light, I like shooting from top to from the top, facing down, right? Now you guys can see with this shot what the V flat is doing. I mean, it's easier to see in this scenario because we're shooting with constant light, right? So in this scenario right here, we have this, which is a more Richardson light. It is warm. It is 2,700 Kelvin or somewhere around that. It's a very warm light, right? And my white balance, which a lot of people asked me for, so my white balance was 5,600. So I kept my white balance where it was because I wanted that really, really warm light. Also, this light's not doing anything here, so ignore that light. So this light is shooting down at V flat again, which we have here. As you guys can see, that line at the back is from a V flat, right? And we have the barn doors to direct the light on the more Richardson 1K watt light. So our barn doors were pretty closed in, as you guys can see, just to really, really reduce the spill of the light. Because even without the V flat, you guys can see the light does not spill to more than these areas right here. That's why we have the barn doors to really control how much light is hitting our subject, right? Okay, great. Our V flat is here once again to just create this separation between our subject and our background, just to add an interesting effect to it. And what else again? Now, you might be asking, how is this light blue? Why is the background blue, when we're using like this really nice warm light? That was because right here we have an 8600. And with that 8600, remember we're shooting at 5,600 Kelvin. With that 8600, we have a bluish gel on it. So when you bounce this gel, what happens is that everywhere that is dark takes the color of this, because I'm bouncing this off the ceiling. Remember, it's a white studio, right? So everywhere, every other thing takes, the color of this gel. Now, at this point, I can't remember because I feel like everybody has different lights, right? And what I try not to do is just give the power settings for my light, because if you don't have an 8600, you have an 8400, you can't use the same, like light settings that I'm using. If you have an 8200, you can't use this light setting. Sometimes I use my 8300 and I don't use that. But anyways, this right here is an 8600. I can't really remember, but typically when I shoot like this is probably at like maybe 128 or probably like 116. It's probably going to be around 128. If it's too like high, it'll probably be like 164. I feel like that would probably be the power that I'll be using here, but that's if it's really high. But anyways, that's literally the light breakdown. Remember, this we show at f2.8. Our image is still nice and tack sharp. Another reason why introducing a flash to this is good is, even though like it's not really showing on your subject, it still kind of helps in a way to freeze the image, and that's one thing that flashes are good at. So without the flash, any minor movement from the model, you might be able to tell, and to compensate for that, you might have to shoot with a higher shutter speed. And if you're increasing your shutter speed, you probably increase your ISO. But for you to shoot or for me to shoot at the lowest ISO, sometimes, I mean, that's not the reason why I add the flash. The reason why I add the flash is basically for creative purposes, right? But when I do, not use the flash in like the next lighting breakdown video that I'll do, I tend to have to increase my shutter speed and in turn increase my ISO. But basically, this is the lighting breakdown. We have this light. You don't have to use a constant light. And even if you do use a constant light, you just need to get like a bandor for your light, or use a Fresnel to be able to create this look. But like I said, this is a Mo Richardson light. They're amazing. It's not mine. It's for the studio, Thai studio. He got it for a decent price. So if you are in the States, you can get this or in Canada, you can get this for a decent price, between maybe $200, $300. Newer ones go for higher than that. He got like a really nice deal for this light. I absolutely love it, and I use it to shoot all the time. This is the 8600. But anyways, that's it. If you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me in the comment section. Remember, your light stand has to be a little bit higher for you to get this nice shadow beneath the jaw. If you want the shadow to be shorter and not this long, all you have to do is bring the light down a bit and the shadow will be shorter. But I like when the shadow is short like this. But that's about it. Thank you so much. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll be doing a retouching video for some of these images, just to show you how I retouch them. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe and comment below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have an amazing day. Peace out, guys.